which keeps it.
Dave Lambert
is now joining.
Marcel.
Is now joining.
I hope I've got sound here. You can mute it. Somebody in the meeting muted you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's 5 o'clock, and I think pretty much everybody who's going to join in on meeting is here. Today we will we'll bring our begin our Committee of Adjustment meeting for everyone's information, and we generally deal with each application according to the order of the agenda. Anyone present who wishes to speak in support or against an application, as well as anyone with questions or concerns, will have an opportunity to speak. The committee will make their decision following each application. If there's anyone present who is not an applicant or an agent, but is interested in the decision, you can email our Secretary Treasurer, Sherry Mott, and she can hook you up with the decision in writing, and it will be mailed to you. Copies of the decision are automatically sent to the applicant and agent within 15 days of the meeting. In order to be kept advised of a possible appeal of the local planning appeal tribunal, you must request that you be sent a copy of the decision of the committee on the application. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. So I'll remind everyone that these meetings are recorded and will be posted to the county's YouTube channel in the next day or so. And our first order of business is I will start with a roll call. So Marcel, are you present? How about Lisa? Lisa, are you present?
Yes.
I can't hear. Okay,
Marcel,
thanks, Lisa.
yes.
Rudy, are you present?
Yes.
Thank you. Adam?
Yes.
Myself, and I'll try for Marcel again.
Yes.
Okay, hi, Marcel. So our first order of business is our director, Tricia Givens, would like to join us. Oh, at the end? Okay, I'm sorry. So we'll do the minutes from the last meeting. Everyone got a copy of the minutes from the January meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Being none, can I get a mover and a secondary to adopt the minutes of the meeting held January the 16th?
Rudy moves approval.
Okay, Rudy, thank you.
Marcel, second that.
Okay, Marcel, thank you. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is carried. Okay, so first up, is application number ANPL 2021389 in the name of Chris Nelson for 401 Cedar Drive in Turkey Point. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to construct a new vacation home requiring relief of 2.5% from the maximum lot coverage to permit coverage of 17.5%, 2.25 meters from the maximum boathouse height of 5 meters to permit a height of 7.25 meters, and 58 meters squared from the maximum total usable floor area for a boathouse to permit one with 114 meters squared. Through evaluation and discussion between staff and the applicant, it was determined that there were some misunderstandings in which relief was being requested for which provisions, resulting in errors to the public notice summary which was circulated. Planning staff are recommending deferral to the March committee meeting to ensure Planning Act requirements to provide public notice for all relevant variances are being achieved, which has also been discussed with the agent and the owners.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant on the line? Okay, being none, we have a motion. Can I get a motion from the committee to do with this application, please? Are they looking for a deferral?
Lisa moves to defer.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And a seconder, please?
Rudy
Adam?
seconds.
Okay, Rudy, thank you. So application ANPL 2021389 in the name of Chris Nelson at 401 Cedar Drive has been moved to be deferred. All those in favor, Marcel
Yes.
and Lisa
Yes.
and Rudy
Yes.
and Adam.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion is deferred. The right stamp on it this time. Okay, so next up is application ANPL 2021390 in the name of Janice Hearn at 3 Serviceberry Lane in Simcoe. And can the applicant or the planner give the report, please?
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to construct a sunroom requiring relief from the minimum rear yard setback of 6 meters to permit a rear yard setback of 3.89 meters. The area of the subject lands are zoned R4 with special provision 14.828 and are designated urban residential. They're approximately 250 square meters in area with approximately 8.5 meters of frontage on Serviceberry Lane in the urban area of Simcoe. The subject lands are occupied by a townhouse, which is part of a condominium. Through staff evaluation, it was identified that the proposal would create a further deficiency for side yard setbacks. After communicating this with the applicant, they confirmed that they will move the sunroom to conform with this provision as articulated by the zoning administrators. On site inspection, staff also noted a walking trail and trees located along the rear property line that adjoin the subject lands and the property to the south. The report notes, just for informational purposes, that any encroachments into the adjacent property are not permitted, and any additional landscaping for the subject lands is required to be accommodated within the property lines. Due to the subject lands being under site plan control, they will require a site plan waiver. With the understanding that the sunroom will be moved to accommodate the interior side yard setback, it is the opinion of staff that the subject application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. So the proposed addition is consistent with the permitted uses of the urban residential designation. The relief requested is only for the minimum rear yard setback, will meet the other provisions identified in the zoning bylaw. It's desirable for the appropriate development of lands because it supports the use and enjoyment of the existing residential dwelling, reflects the character of the surrounding land use, and it's minor because of the perceived small impact the proposal will have on the subject property and neighboring properties and land base. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or an applicant on the line? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak to this application? Any questions from the committee? Can I get a motion from the committee on this application, please?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. And
Adam,
second,
second.
Adam, thank you. So application ANPL 2021390 in the name of Janice Hearn at 3 Serviceberry Lane in Simcoe. This, in the case of a minor variance as made under Section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, the requested relief is considered appropriate for the proposed development, minor in nature, and maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, Marcel
Yes.
and Lisa
Yes.
and Rudy
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes.
Myself, thank you. That motion is carried. Okay, so next up we have application ANPL 2021383 in the name of Scott and Susan McKinney, 2011 Maple Boulevard in Port Dover. And would the planner please give the report now?
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to permit the construction of an accessory structure requiring relief from section 45(2) of the Planning Act and section 11.1.1 of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw to permit construction in the hazard land zone. So the subject lands are zoned and designated hazard land. They're located southeast of the intersection of Elm Avenue and Maple Boulevard in the urban area of Port Dover, abutting a ridge which leads to the Lake Erie shoreline. The area of the subject lands is approximately 1,600 square meters, with approximately 29 meters of frontage on Maple Boulevard. There is also a right-of-way which runs from north to south on the western side of the lot to provide public access to a stairway which leads to the beach. The subject lands are occupied by a cottage with a deck and a shed, and they also intersect with the erosion hazard limit and stable slope allowance boundaries as identified by the LPRCA. The Planning Department has received some comments from the public. I understand there may be some people also speaking to this meeting, so I'm happy to read them at the end of the evaluation or wait until people speak at the meeting, whichever the chair prefers.
Yeah, if you want to do them now, Jennifer, that's fine.
Thank you. So to read the comments, we received 3. To kind of summarize them in whole, a majority of them were concerned with the views to the lakefront, possible impact on property values in the future, and some concerns related to the stability and erosion because of the hazard lands. So one mentioned it's an unnecessary structure which will block my enjoyment of the lake and my property, especially for it to be garage, a utilitarian unnecessary building in the area where lake views are prized. This will affect my property values should I want to resell. I understand that this building is to be constructed on hazard land that has not previously been built on because of erosion of the waterfront. A large building would put far too much stress on the lake banks and cause further erosion, not to mention the instability of building on such land. Another comment in a similar vein mentioned that they're 100% against the proposal. They sold their home in the big city to kind of move here, and after researching a spot where they could enjoy the lake, that is now their home. They mentioned enjoying sitting on their deck, watching the freighters out on the bay, and all the sights Lake Erie has to offer. They mentioned that many people in the area will be devastated by a large building blocking the view of the lake. And are concerned with the enjoyment of residents who've lived in the area for many years. And then the last comment mentioned that they live right across the street. They bought their home about 10 years ago because of the view that they were afforded of the lake from most of their windows. They articulate they spent a large sum of money building a deck and an upper balcony so they could enjoy the view from these spots. And again, just articulating that the garage that the owner will be erecting will block the views, and then also mentioning again the hazard land and erosion being an issue. So concerns about safety essentially summarizes the comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there an applicant or agent on the line?
McKinney.
No? Is there any questions from the committee?
Hello.
Yes, hello?
Yes, hello. Sue and Scott McKinney, the applicants are on the line. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get back to you in a second. Is there any questions from the committee? Does the applicant have anything to add?
Other than on the comments, we've owned the property for approximately 11 years. And yes, we are Canadian and we are living overseas at this point in Australia. We haven't been able actually to get back to Canada due to COVID over the last 2.5 years. But we do plan on coming back and making this our home. The property has been, yes, without car facilities or a carport of any sort over that period of time that we've owned it. And the parties that were concerned, they've had that opportunity over that period of time to enjoy that view over that period of time that we've owned it. And it was actually up for sale a couple times as well, and they had the opportunity to purchase that property, but they did not. So we're happy that we're holding on to the property, and it will be our home one day.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this application? Going once? I think you're muted if you're trying to speak. Is there anybody else on the line that wishes to speak to this application? I think someone's trying to speak, but they're muted, and we're not getting what.
Sorry, through the chair. Sherry, are you able to unmute participants at the meeting?
Just a second.
No, but our IT help will. So Sebastian, if you're there, can you please unmute this applicant for speaking?
Okay, we're just, Sebastian is just working on that. Just take a second.
Is it coming through now?
Uh-oh.
Through the chair it is, but because you have two computers on, there's a lot of sound that is echoing.
Yes.
So you would need to turn off one of your computers so that when you speak, it doesn't create that backflow.
Are you able to hear us now? Turn yours off, please.
Yes, I can now.
Okay. Are we coming through now?
Turn it off. I don't know how to, oh, you want me to turn it off?
Okay. All right.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, go ahead.
Unmuting.
I think we've lost you again.
Go ahead, Liz. Speak.
So through the chair, I think the members of the public muted themselves again.
I think the member of the public has muted themselves again. So we had you, then we lost you. Okay, here's the problem we're finding is that with the weather outside, if everyone was to turn off their camera, that will improve the signal to everybody. So turn the camera part off, but activate your voice.
Okay.
And maybe just identify, you'll have to identify yourself as to who's speaking.
Hello?
Ooh, boy. Yeah, go ahead. Is Liz Richmond trying to speak? You're muted.
Okay, no speak.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We had you, and then we dropped your voice
right.
up. Go ahead now.
Okay. I wanted to say there's other residents. There's a total of
Can you
7
just-
of
Before you go on, can you just identify yourself, please?
Liz Richmond.
Okay.
Okay. As I was saying, there are 7 of us in the area that strongly object to this. Some of the people are elderly seniors and do not understand computers or how to get into this. So I guess, you know, their concerns are not known, but I'm saying it's just more than a few people. And we do object to this because we all enjoy the view of the lake. Scott and Sue haven't really lived here, and I guess now it sounds as though they are going to be coming back. You know, we just kind of all feel that, of course, they have a right to do what they want to with their property, but we just would like to maybe be able to negotiate the dimensions of this property so that it just doesn't spoil everybody's view. We put a lot of money into our home to build a deck and a balcony to enjoy the view of the lake, and we're quite devastated that that's going to be ending. And we're concerned about the erosion for sure.
That's been happening for.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else on the line? Please unmute now and you can speak to this application.
Excuse me.
So can I ask you, Liz, do you have all 7 people with you now? Is that it or not?
No, I do not. As I say, a lot of them don't understand the whole procedure, but they have come over and voiced their concerns to me.
All right, I was just confused because it sounded like you had everybody.
No,
in the room there.
no, I have one extra person with me,
Okay.
a neighbor.
Okay.
You might want to talk about the erosion.
We already know. Hello?
Okay. It doesn't appear that there's anybody else on the line that wants to speak to this.
Yes, hello, somebody was trying to speak. Just a second, please.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Say your
Okay.
name.
My name is John Putnikovich. I
Can you
live at
Can you spell that, please?
Putnikovich.
Thank you. That's just for the record for our secretary to have the correct spelling for the record.
Okay. I live at 3 Elm Avenue.
And you see the lake.
Okay, and your comments are?
I'd like to know, in certain areas here in Port Dover, like the Black Creek Flats, that's a hazardous land and nobody can build there, but this is deemed hazardous land and there's an application to build on it.
Not understanding it.
Can I ask Hannelore, what were the comments from the LPRCA?
Sure, thank you, Chair. If you one moment, I'll just pull up the report so I can quote them directly. Thank you for waiting. So their comment in the report confirms they've reviewed the subject application. So their understanding the application is to permit the construction of an accessory structure. They identify that they have delegated responsibility from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry and Section 3.1 of the Provincial Policy Statement. The overall intent of Section 3.0, protecting public health and safety of the PPS, is to reduce the potential public cost or risk to Ontario's residents from natural or human-made hazards. As such, development shall be directed away from areas of natural or human-made hazards where there is an unacceptable risk to public health or safety, or of property damage, and will not create new or aggravate existing hazards. So as such, the application is subject to the following subsections of Section 3.1 of the Provincial Policy Statement. So 3.11 says that development shall generally be directed in accordance with guidance developed by the province as amended from time to time to areas outside of subsection B, hazardous lands adjacent to the shoreline of the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River system, and large inland lakes, which are impacted by flooding hazards, erosion hazards, and/or dynamic beach hazards. Their comments are that the application is within the Lake Erie shoreline erosion hazard. This proposal should not negatively affect slope stability or negatively affect the control of erosion. The proposed structure is no closer to the lake than the existing structures, and a maintenance access setback has been retained. As such, the LPRCA staff have no objection to the concept of the application. They then summarize that the permit was obtained for the construction of the proposed carport from the LPRCA, and a new permit must be applied for if construction has not begun by March 12th of 2022.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments to that, sir?
I'm just wondering, a height of almost 18 feet. Isn't that a little high?
Hannelore, can you comment to that, please?
Sure, thank you through the chair. So in the report, we kind of evaluate from the provincial policy statement to the official plan and then the zoning bylaw. So to answer your question regarding the zoning bylaw, one of the things about the hazard land zone is that it doesn't actually articulate any provisions for things like height and setback area and usable floor area. When we look at minor variances, we hope that they pass the 4 tests. Those 4 tests being if it meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and the official plan, if it's considered desirable for the appropriate development of lands based on evaluation when we do site visits, and if it's considered minor. So what we see is kind of this gray area where, because the hazard land zone doesn't state specific provisions, a lot of it is based off of the site specific context and the proposal. So with that said, the proposed height is 5.86 meters, which when we compare it to other accessory structures for other zones, it kind of places it between the maximum permitted heights for urban residential zones and resort residential zones. So between 5 meters and 7 meters. So based on my professional opinion, I think it's, appropriate when we consider what other accessory structures are permitted. But of course, with public comment, I leave the decision to the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the public on this application?
No.
Are there any other comments on this application from the public? Please unmute now. Any questions or comments from the committee, please? And would the applicant have anything further to add?
Not at this time, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Through the chair, just to make it clear, the planning department is recommending for approval for that motion.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Marcel approves.
Thank you.
I hope that they can have some discussion with the owner. Maybe he can adjust the height somewhat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And a seconder, please?
Through the chair, Lisa seconds, and I concur with what Rudy's suggesting as well.
Okay, thank you. Duly noted. So application ANPL 2021-383 in the name of Scott and Susan McKinney at 2011 Maple Boulevard, Port Dover. In accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the requested relief is considered appropriate for the proposed development, minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes.
Thank you, and myself. And that motion is approved. Okay, thank you. Next up is application ANPL 2021-391 in the name of Fred and Carol Lambert at 519 Avalon Lane in Simcoe. And the planner can give the report now, please.
Hi, thank you. Through the chair. So this is an application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through consent application BNPL 2021-319, which was conditionally approved by the committee in December, requiring relief to permit a lot area of 495.34 square meters and 0.86 meters from the required interior side yard on the right side of 1.2 meters to permit a setback of 0.34 meters. So the property is designated resort residential in the official plan and zoned resort residential as well. Staff assessed the application and consider that it meets the 4 tests as outlined by the Planning Act. So the application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan and Lakeshore Special Policy Area Secondary Plan and community guidelines. Also conforms to the general intent of the zoning bylaw. It's also considered desirable for the proposed development, and it is considered minor given the location in the resort area of Avalon. For those reasons, staff are recommending approval of the application.
Okay, thank you. Is there an applicant or agent on the line?
Yes, Dave Rowe. I'm on here as agent. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Does the committee have any questions of the planner? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak to this application? Unmute now. Anything further to add, Dave?
No, support the recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Rudy moves approval.
Rudy, thank you.
Adam seconds.
Thank you, Adam. So file number ANPL 2021-391 in the name of Fred and Carol Lambert at 519 Avalon Lane in Simcoe. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the requested relief is considered appropriate for the proposed development, minor in nature, and maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, Marcel
Yes.
and Lisa?
Yes.
Thank you. And Rudy?
Yes.
Thank you. And Adam?
Yes.
Myself, and that motion is carried. I don't think I signed one. Okay, next up, file number ANPL 2021392, the name of Mark Walker and Laura Weyland at 25 Beach Avenue in Long Point. And would the planner please give the report?
Hi, thank you. Through the chair. So an application has been received to construct a vacation home in detached garage or accessory structure, requiring relief to recognize existing deficiencies to permit the reconstruction of a detached garage in the front yard, which would be the road side of the property, and relief of 1.6 meters from the minimum front yard setback of 6 meters to permit a decreased front yard setback of 4.4 meters. The proposed development also requires relief of 1.8 meters from the maximum height of an accessory building to permit a height of 6.8 meters, 2% from the maximum permitted lot coverage for an accessory structure of 10% to permit a lot coverage of 12%, 66 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area for an accessory structure to permit a maximum usable floor area of 166 square meters, and relief to permit an additional lot coverage of 9% for the additional decks and sidewalks. So just to summarize, the subject lands are designated resort residential in the official plan and zoned accordingly. After review and circulation of the application, the zoning administrators have identified that a number of the provisions identified as requiring relief are actually not required to build the proposed development. So in the staff report, we've actually identified that in the table and also provided an additional sort of summary of the relief required, which I'll read now. So and this is what staff actually assessed the application on, is the reduced relief that is required. So that being, and the way I phrased it was sort of as a proposal, so that an application has been received to construct a vacation home and detached garage requiring relief of 41 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area for an accessory structure of 100 square meters to permit a maximum usable floor area of 141 square meters, and relief of 2% from the maximum permitted lot coverage to permit a lot coverage of 17% for the vacation home. And I apologize for the lights going out. They're on a sensor here in the office. So when staff reviewed the application, after reviewing the Lakeshore Special Policy, Area Secondary Plan and Community Guidelines in accordance with other official plan policies and the general intent of the zoning bylaw, and considering that much less relief is actually required to construct the proposed development, staff considered the request minor in nature. We are recommending approval of the application. And just to note, we have received two letters or two pieces of correspondence from the public. One I'll summarize, and it came from a neighbor down in Long Point from 18 Beach Avenue. There were concerns about the proposed location of the accessory structure being close to hydro lines. Given the types of wind storms or wind events that happen in Long Point, there was some concern about the proximity to the property line. And they were sort of suggesting that the proposed detached accessory structure maybe be shifted to accommodate some additional space. The second came from a gentleman by the name of Frank Gardner. He's requested that I read an email on his behalf. So he notes that as a property owner in Long Point for many years, I have been concerned about the use of minor variances to allow for the building of extremely large accessory buildings, garages, and boathouses within second floors. Although not permitted, many have been converted to habitable rooms after the initial construction. This does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, official plan, Lakeshore Secondary Plan, or Lakeshore Community Design Guidelines. With this motivation in mind, I request the following conditions be applied to this application to discourage any possible future conversion to a dwelling, habitable room, or washroom. The applicants agree in writing that no habitable space will be created in the proposed detached garage during or after the initial construction is completed. Number 2, private, separate entrances, doorways directly to a second floor, whether inside or outside, will not be permitted. Second floor balconies or decks, as well as any exterior stairways to the second floor, are also not permitted. And number 3, second floor windows may only be installed at the peaked ends of the garage structure, provided this does not violate the building code. Dormer windows in the roof will also not be permitted. These proposed conditions are to encourage the current and future owners to maintain the permitted use of the detached garage as storage. Thank you, Frank Gardner. Thank you, Chair, and I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant on the line?
Yes, hi, Mike Ross here, the agent, William Ross Construction, the agent for the property.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there any questions or comments from the committee, please? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak to this application on the line? Please unmute now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Dave Lambert. I live right across the road from the proposed cottage, and I fully support the new cottage and the garage and the upper unit. It's in keeping with other developments that have happened at Long Point, and I can't see it doing anything but increasing the value of the real estate, as well as I think it'll look like it belongs at Long Point. I just wanted to give my full support to the applicants and the agent on this.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to speak to this application? Unmute now, please. Okay. Is someone trying to get through? Can't tell, okay. Anything further to add, Mike?
No.
Nope. Okay, thank you. Anything else from the committee? Can I get a motion from the committee then, please?
Marcel moves to approval.
Thank you, Marcel.
And Lisa seconds.
Thank you, Lisa. So application ANPL 2021-392 in the name of Mark Walker and Laura Weyland, in accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the requested relief is considered appropriate for the proposed development, minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Thank you. And Adam?
Yes.
So, and that motion is carried.
Thank you, committee.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, next up is file number BNPL 2021-382, Schoenberger Family Farms Limited at 1250 First Concession.
Dave Lambert.
Is
now exiting.
And the planner can give the report now, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of approximately 80 meters, width of approximately 88 meters, and an irregular depth of approximately 40 meters with an area of 1.06 acres, and retaining a parcel having an area of approximately 97 acres as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The subject lands are designated and zoned hazard land and predominantly agriculture with some portions of hazard lands and a portion of significant woodlands on the northeastern portion of the parcel. The lands to be severed are occupied by a 118.4 square meter story building and a garage measuring 25.6 square meters. The lands to be retained are occupied by several accessory structures for agricultural purposes and a pump house. When asked about the use of this pump house, the applicant identified that it is not needed for the storage barns on the retained lands and will be removed. Staff evaluation from the building department identified requirements for spatial separation, which was communicated to the agent, and that agent also responded to in advance of this meeting. As with all surplus applications, planning staff have evaluated the proposal on a site-by-site basis and determined that this proposal meets the intent of both the provincial policy statement and official plan on the basis that it meets the definition of a habitable dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation, is locally appropriate, does not impact the viability of the severed and retained lots, and does not introduce risk to natural heritage, water, or agricultural resources. Similarly, the proposed lot to be severed does not create any deficiencies within the zoning bylaw for the agricultural zone. With that said, the opinion of staff that the application is consistent and in conformity with PBS and official plan as relates to general consent to sever policies, and recommend that this application be approved subject to conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant on the line?
Yes, Mary Ellen is on the line.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Does the committee have any questions or comments of the planner? Is there any member of the public on the line that wishes to speak to this application? Please unmute now. Anything to add, Mary?
Yes, I'm wondering with the condition, did submit matters to do with the separation distance. Building is still reviewing that, so that's fine, that condition, but the septic system evaluation was, and I've had discussions with Devin this week, and I understand that that condition could be moved. If the committee would see their way to do that, and if planning those communications from Devin Stanley. Thank you.
Okay, so you're broken up a little bit on that. So you've been in discussions with Devin this week, and that's kind of where I lost you.
Indicated that the proper distance 3 meters from the line is retained, and so there is no need for a condition for the septic.
Would you like to comment on that, Hannah-Laura?
Thank you. Through the chair, I apologize, but it's a little bit difficult to make out Mary regarding the conditions for the building department.
Through the chair, Hannah, did you get email Devin this week that the septic system condition was not needed? It's been.
Through the chair, thank you for clarifying. To be honest, I don't think I did see the email. If it was addressed to me directly, I apologize for not receiving it. So I can't confirm whether that's true. Yeah, sorry.
So can we leave the condition in for the time being, subject to the negotiation or whatever you want to call it between, oh, hang on. Okay, so yeah, so Sherry is just informing me that she did receive the email and that the condition can be removed. Okay, so which condition is that number? 3. No, not 3. 4 is
6 and 7. 6 and 7.
Oh, 6 and 7, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. So, we'll just, yeah, so we'll remove those 2 conditions and I'll just circle them for now. Okay, anyway. Okay, anything else from the committee? Can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Rudy moves approval.
Thank you, Rudy.
Marcel will second that.
Thank you, Marcel. Okay, so file number BNPL 2021382 in the name of Schoenberger Family Farms Limited, 1250 First Concession Road, ENR, Langton. This application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan regarding the creation of a lot within the agricultural area, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. And we just made a note of the 2 conditions, number 6 and 7, that they can be removed. So all that being said, all in favor, Marcel?
Yes.
And Lisa?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Thank you. And Adam?
Yes.
And myself, and that motion is carried and approved. Okay, so last up we have file number AMPL 2022010 in the name of Mark Acton Construction at 289 Angling Road, Waterford. And the planner can give the report, please.
Hi, thank you. So through the chair, an application has been received to construct an accessory residential dwelling unit, or an ADU, in the agricultural zone requiring relief of 28.26 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area permitted for accessory structures, which is 200 square meters, to permit a maximum usable floor area of 228.26 square meters, and 4.2% from the maximum usable floor area of the permitted dwelling unit of 45% to permit an accessory dwelling unit to be a total of 49.2% of the primary dwelling unit, for a total of 97 square meters, where 88.65 would be permitted. So the property is in the agricultural designation by the official plan, and it's also zoned agricultural. Staff have assessed all of the provisions regarding accessory structures and accessory residential dwelling units. All of the other provisions are achieved. In this particular case, staff feel that this minor variance does meet the overall intent of the official plan, as it will permit an additional residential unit in the agricultural area. The existing house that is located on the subject lands is modest in size, and what is being proposed is also modest. It's a 2-bedroom unit. So staff do feel in this case that the proposed or the recommended or the required relief is appropriate for the proposed development and can be considered minor in nature, and therefore we are recommending approval of this application.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant on the line?
Yes, Mary.
Okay, Mary, thank you. Is there any questions or comments from the committee, please? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak to this application? You can unmute now. Hearing none. Anything to add, Mary?
No, I'm here for questions if you have.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion from the committee, please? Going once? Can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Rudy moves, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rudy.
Lisa seconds.
Don't everybody jump up at once. Thank you, Lisa. guys are all gun shy tonight.
Yes.
Anyway,
I've done enough already tonight.
okay. File number AMPL 2022-010, the name of Mark Acton Construction at 289 Angling Road, Waterford. In accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the requested relief is considered appropriate for the proposed development, minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, Marcel?
Yes.
And Lisa?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes.
Myself, thank you, and that motion is carried. So just, that's it for our applications. So just as before we finish tonight, I think that Tricia wants to join us, please. Go ahead, Trish.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and this is a message for members of Committee of Adjustment. I just wanted to let you know that this is my last week with Norfolk County. I've accepted another position outside of the municipality and we'll be moving on. There is some messaging that Sherry will be sharing with committee, but I just wanted to personally reach out and let you know. And thank you all very much for your hard work. Quietly plugging along through the pandemic, finding ways to make committee work. I know it wasn't easy, so I do appreciate the committee's flexibility as we try to figure out how to keep the committee functioning over the past 2 years. So thank you all very much. I will miss working with all of you and wish you all the best going forward. So I just wanted to wish you all well, and there will be some messaging, as I said, coming out from Sherry to give you some additional information.
Okay, well, thank you, Trish, and all the best to you in your future endeavors up the road, just north of here, I guess.
Thank you. Yes. Thank
Certainly,
you.
Anything further?
We'll miss you. I'm sorry to see you go, really, Marcel.
Thank you.
All the best from Lisa as well.
Thanks, Lisa.
Rudy as well. Wish you all the best in your new position.
Thanks, Rudy. Appreciate it.
I guess I better say the same. Good luck to you, Trish. Appreciate all the help.
Thank you very much.
That'll be the last one. Oh, Adam doesn't care.
And I'm always, like I've told the team, I'm not disappearing. So if you ever need any information, I will be available for sure.
So it's unanimous. Anyway, thank you again. Sherry?
Hi, all. I just wanted to share some information. I've been working with the Clerk's Department on a new program to implement all of our reports, decisions, letters, correspondence. It's called eScribe. And going forward, this is going to be the new future of our Committee of Adjustment. They're really trying to get away from paper. We're trying to do our best to process everything online to this one eScribe page. So going forward in the next couple months, you'll probably get notifications from the Clerk's Department and myself on how to access this eScribe link. It'll show you all of your reports, decisions, comments, anything you need to know about Committee of Adjustment, agendas, what have you. So we're in the midst of training for that. So be like in the next couple months. So I will be communicating that when I am confident that it's going live, but March maybe, but for sure in April.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anything further from the committee? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Marcel moves.
Thank you, Marcel. And seconded by?
Lisa?
Adam?
Lisa, thank you, Lisa. And that's an all in favor?
Yes.
No discussion?
You betcha.
There you go. Thanks very much. We'll see you guys next month. And we are adjourned at 5:59.
Take care all. See you next